Thank you for watching my CMT and me. If you enjoy the content, please hit the like or subscribe button. It'll really help us move the information along to people that may need it. Today, I am actually bringing you my story and the story of my life and how things transpired for me growing up with CMT or Charcot-Marie-Tooth. All right, I first started to notice changes between myself and my peers when I was around the age of 5. It started uh, when there was just a noticeable difference between how I and my peers ran and walked. Just to give you a little background, Charcot-Marie-Tooth is an inheritable peripheral neuropathy condition and includes many motor or sensory neuropathies, degradation of nerves, loss of muscle, increased weakness, and of course, CMT or Charcot-Marie-Tooth is also very progressive as well, and there's no cure currently. Around the age of 8, I started to notice that I had weakness that other boys my age did not have. I wasn't able to do pull-ups or climb a rope like they did in the gym class. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do any of that. And although I realized I had this condition as a child, I elected not to get diagnosed until I was an adult, just because of the pre-existing conditions were not protected at that time, and so it have made getting health insurance or life insurance more difficult, in my opinion. So just because of that, I decided to hold off until I absolutely had to get diagnosed. And since I was diagnosed approximately 15 years ago, I've had many surgeries on my lower body and lower extremities, just mainly my legs and feet. Also had a knee surgery and broken tibia at one time, but that was a long time ago. Most recently, within the past 10 years, my issues have all been lower body. My right foot was extremely, really bad. I could not actually stand up on it. It was like standing on nerve ending. So it caused me to not be able to walk and really impacted my ability to get out and do things. And when you're going through things like that, it does cause depression, anxiety, things of that nature, just because you're used to doing things and you can no longer do them. There's also some grieving that goes along with that. But my most recent surgery and what I've had problems with most recently is my left foot. Last year, when I was just walking, it actually broke on me, and I didn't have a pre-existing condition for it to break like that. It was just because of the structure of my feet. So it was directly related to Charcot-Marie-Tooth, which I do have Charcot feet, which is the extremely high arches. And my hands have also been impacted by neuropathy. I noticed this in my early 20s. It started as just me being able to hold things without my hands getting numb and tingling, and the time that I was able to do so seemed to decline and decline and decline. So right now I'm at to the point where I can hold things or function for about an hour, uh, functionality if I'm lucky, without pain. And then once my neuropathy kicks in with my hands, it really forces me to discontinue any activity that I'm doing. So it really does have a direct impact on my life as far as being able to work, as far as being able to write, as far as being able to do a lot of things. So it's definitely impactful. Last year in 2024, I actually started to have pain so severe that I was actually wearing gloves on my hands at all times. I slept in them. I wore them all the time uh, in 2024, and actually 2024 is when I was let go of my job, and so that's when I decided, my hands are I can't even work or do anything with my hands because of how bad my neuropathy was. And at the time, it was a lot worse because I actually had carpal and cubital tunnel as well, and it was interacting with the neuropathy, and that's what was making my condition so bad as far as being able to tolerate cold temperatures on my hands. It was debilitating for quite a while. I couldn't handle ice or anything of that nature. But luckily, in February of this year, 2025, I did go ahead and have a carpal and cubital tunnel release on my right hand, followed by one on my left hand in May. And it's really returned a lot of things to me that I had lost. Now have the ability to grab small things. I can tie my pants. I can button my shirt. Uh, Things of that nature that I had lost just because my hands hurt so much. I regained a lot of that, and I'm very, very grateful to my surgeon, Dr. Fox at KU Medical, for him helping me to get back to where I am. And now I'm at a place where I can tolerate cold temperatures with my hands. I can pick up ice and things of that nature without any pain. So it's really a blessing to have that done. And if you're if you're having problems like that where you're having to wear gloves all the time, things of that nature, I would suggest getting a EMG performed to identify if you have carpal and cubital tunnel, because if you have it and it's severe, uh, and you have neuropathy as well, could be making your symptoms uncontrollable. So, yeah, I'd recommend that if you have that type of problem in your hands. And like I said, my reduction in pain since I had the procedure has just been nothing less than life changing for me. And I'm really grateful to Dr. Fox for that. In addition to my hand problems, of course, I have the lower body issues I'm dealing with Charcot-Marie-Tooth. I've had 3 surgeries on my right foot and 2 surgeries on my left foot and 2 surgeries on my left knee. And so, um, and I've had another surgery somewhere. It's not coming to my mind right. Well, of course, my hands, both of my arms, that's where my other surgeries were. And so those are the surgeries that I've had pertaining to Charcot-Marie-Tooth. Right now, I'm at a place where I can walk with a boot, but unfortunately, it's very heavy and it causes a lot of pain, so it's just not easy to do. So that's where I am currently. I'm hoping that I'll get out of this walking boot in 4 weeks and I'll have no more additional problems with my left foot, because last year was just a nightmare. I had a surgery in June to fix it because I broke it in May, just again walking on it with no pre-existing injury. And I had a procedure performed to have it uh, plates put in and screws put in. And I just thought that, any surgeon would be able to perform that. I didn't really think about my Charcot-Marie-Tooth just because it was my ankle that was broken, and I figured any surgeon would be able to address that type of thing. Just put some plates in there, screws in there, and I'd be good to go. But unfortunately, that was not the case. Unfortunately, I had a lot of problems with my left foot, and I was actually following up from June to November of last year, doing bone scan treatments in the office to try to get this left foot healed. And although it did, eventually I was released from care from her, and I realized that my foot was much more problematic uh, after the procedure than it was before I broke my ankle. So because of that, I decided to go to my surgeon of choice, who performed my procedures on my feet for my right foot, and did a fantastic job, by the way. I want to point that out. He's a spectacular surgeon for foot. Uh, and I have a lot of good things to say about him. And it's Dr. Greg Horton. Again, that's KU Medical. And I really have a lot to thank him for as well. And I have. Every time I see him, I have. And I go back to see him in another month to get this boot off. And so I will thank him again at that point. But just to give you a little background, age of 19, I was working at Hardee's full time. And that's when I noticed I started to have extreme pains in my feet. I was working approximately 50 to 60 weeks or hours per week as a manager. And unfortunately, it was just making my feet just hurt to the point where I couldn't sleep at night. It would keep me up, and they would be hurting me all day, uh, just about all day, every day. And it just became so painful that I decided to go ahead and discontinue a job where I was working on my feet and focus more on a sedentary job. At the time, it was call center. That's when call centers were big. Telemarketing was big, and that's how I went from being a manager, restaurant manager, or, obviously I'm forced to be on my feet a lot, to a office worker where I'm able to be off my feet a substantial amount of time. And so that was right around the age of 21 that I made that determination. I made the change. And because I did go ahead and switch to a more sedentary job, I've been able to work much longer than people that would not do that. So I'm very grateful for that as well. I was able to put in 32 years before my hands started really getting bad, and they're better, a little bit better now, to the point where I can work for like an hour, maybe two with them. But I'm hoping to continue to progress because nerves really take a long time healing. I'm hoping that it will heal to the point where I'm able to work at least part time. But unfortunately, I won't know that answer until several months from now to be able to determine that. Were big, telemarketing was big, and that's how I went from being a manager, a restaurant manager, or obviously I'm forced to be on my feet a lot, to a office worker where I'm able to be off my feet a substantial amount of time. And so that was right around the age of 21 that I made that determination. I made the change. And because I did go ahead and switch to a more sedentary job, I've been able to work much longer than people that would not do that. So I'm very grateful for that as well. I was able to put in 32 years before my hands started really getting bad, and they're better, a little bit better now, to the point where I can work for like an hour, maybe two with them. But I'm hoping to continue to progress because nerves really take a long time healing. I'm hoping that it will heal to the point where I'm able to work at least part time. But unfortunately, I won't know that answer until several months from now to be able to determine that. And let's see. Approximately 7 years ago, I started to notice my feet being extremely cold. I mean, ice cold all the time, and it really hurt as well when they were cold. So I decided to see if there were other kind of socks that I would be able to wear that would address that and really help me. And I was very fortunate to find that Dickies thick cut boot socks really do help me substantially, help keep my feet warm all the time. So I don't have that cold pain and neuropathy in my feet. Uh, and again, that's also something to be grateful for as well. Uh, it's really the thick cut socks has really put that problem in the past. And as far as when I was diagnosed, I did have a blood test performed for that. I did not have to pay for it. I think it was covered through my insurance. My apologies. So anyway, when I had that blood drawn, I was out. I was approximately 38, and that's when I decided to get diagnosed because my body. I really thought my body was going to start breaking down. It felt like it, and I was really struggling. And when I got diagnosed, I was put on some medications to address the pain that I had all the time that was keeping me from doing things. And even today, I without my medications, I honestly, after if I was to go a day or two without it, it's gonna start really hurting. If I go more than that, I probably won't be able to walk. I probably will be in a wheelchair. So I'm grateful that these medications exist, and I'm grateful that they're available to me too, and they actually help me as well. So very grateful for that. When I was diagnosed, well, I'm sorry, about right before COVID hit, um, my right foot progressed to the point where I couldn't walk or stand on it without extreme pain, meaning I could maybe stand in place for 10, 15 seconds. So it was really, really painful. So I want to tell you a story about when I had that done, or when that pain started. I went to Hanger because I was advised that they may be able to produce some type of brace for me to go over on my foot. But even with the brace on, the sample brace that they had in the office, it didn't really help it didn't help the pain at all. So I determined that that was not going to be something that I was going to pursue. A $700 brace that goes over my foot and it looks like a long boot uh, up to my calf, and I was like, no, no, I don't, I wasn't going for that because it didn't really help with the pain. So, and that's when I decided that to go ahead and check on the surgical route to see what type of procedure could be performed on my right foot, and luckily he was able to fuse everything. He lengthened my Achilles. He straightened my toes with pins. He flattened my arch. He eliminated a big bone surplus on the side of my foot. So he really was able to complete quite a bit in I think it was about a 6 hour procedure. He was able to do quite a bit during that time. Uh, I'd like to thank you again, Dr. Horton, for assisting me with that and getting me back to walking. And hopefully, we'll be able to go ahead and continue walking on the left, what I call my lefty, here before too long as well. I'm really hoping for that. Now, when I did have the procedure performed on the right foot, I did decide to go ahead and give Dr. Horton a 5-star review just because he was really fantastic as far as his performance in in the surgery room. It changed my life. So I definitely gave him a 3-star. I'm sorry, a 5-star review for that. And now, when I broke my foot initially last year, when I was just walking, I was walking across a parking lot, and suddenly I felt a pop and extreme pain in my foot when I was pushing down on it. And so I did go to an urgent care facility. They told me that it was just a sprain, to go ahead and wear a walking boot, and so I did. I continued to wear the walking boot, but unfortunately, within a couple of days, I was just walking in the walking boot to my room, and I felt another pop and another pain, and so obviously I was concerned. I went back to well, this time I didn't go to an urgent care. I went to an actual doctor, and they had indicated a foot and ankle doctor. He indicated that it was actually broken uh, on both sides as far as my ankle bones, and so he then referred me to get a doctor that was going to be able to get it done very quick. But this was the surgery that I had mentioned was not quality, just because the doctor I was working with had no credentials to treat a CMT patient. I honestly believe that. I don't think that she's capable of helping somebody with our foot structure. I don't think she's equipped to do that just yet. And that's what led to me having to go and have another surgery this year. And like I said, I'm getting over that. Hopefully, I'll be able to stand and walk here pretty soon. I am able to walk with the boot. It's just incredibly painful right now. Hopefully, that will improve as well, because it's my second day on it, and I hadn't had uh, anything pressing on the bottom of my feet for 7 weeks. And so when I started to put weight on it, and it was hurting, and then I noticed that they took a couple of sutures out of my foot, on the bottom of my foot, and that hurt as well. From it created like a little cut or something, and it's hard to stand on right now. But hopefully that will improve over the next couple of days. When I initially went to Jayhawk Foot and Ankle earlier this year, it was around January, just because I was not able to go to Dr. Horton without jumping through some hoops. I went to Jayhawk at Foot and Ankle, and they told me that a brace would not be able to assist me. I would have to have a surgery on my foot. And what was really missing was there's a stabilizing rod in my right foot that was missing. So Dr. Horton installed that, and of course, uh, he tried to take remove some of the hardware that was in there because one of the plates had broke. But unfortunately, it had grown into my bone, or my bone grew around it, so he wasn't able to take it out. He was able to get some of the screws out, and so he was instrumental in fixing that problem, and hopefully it's fixed permanently now. Uh, just because it's not a good feeling when you're walking and it feels like your foot's going to fall apart on you, or it really hurts so much that you can't walk. And so hopefully I won't have any more problems like that. Along with this condition comes a slew of mental health issues just because of our circumstances. Well, in my case, I would say that because I had very limited mobility for so long, and I was had so much pain, that's going to cause just about anybody depression, anxiety type. And so I have been treated for that for quite a while, depression, anxiety. And then, of course, when you go through what I've gone through in terms of loss of your gifts, you grieve over that as well. And of course, I've lost many loved ones along the way, so I'm grieving for them also. Uh, so the mental health aspect of that, it really isolates you, and that I think is what has caused me a lot of depression, anxiety, just because I can't go anywhere or see people or do anything, or uh, because it hurts too much to do so at times in my life, and that did cause those medical conditions, and so I've been treated for that for many years as far as the depression, anxiety, and that really helps me to stay positive and try to stay focused on things I can control rather than things I should really let go and not pay attention to. Up until I had my foot surgery, I had become much more active in a gym. I become much more physically active, just trying to keep my body as strong as possible for as long as possible. And because I was and actually when I got home from having the surgery, I was on a walker. I don't know if you've ever hopped on one foot with a walker, but it's not easy. It's difficult. So very blessed to be able to do that. Just because I have kept my strength and worked to retain that in the past. It's been a focus that I've had. Uh, I would say in my early 20s, I started really trying to focus on things that were going to keep me mobile. I started using ankle weights under my desk at my job, and just do leg raises for hours with the leg weights on. So I did that even when I was working. I was active, uh, lift weights. And I try to do other activities like swimming, but I seldom get to do that. I love bike riding, and I have an electric bike that I really truly love getting out on, and it just makes biking so fun to be able to do that. But I do have very strong legs. My left leg looks very thin; it looks like a noodle, but I think it's still relatively strong in comparison to some other people. But I'll know more about that in the future, and I'll of course update you once that comes to fruition. For the last, I want to say, 10 years, I've also had a mobility scooter that I've used. I bought a Go mobility scooter for approximately $200, and this was years and years ago. And actually, the first couple of years, I didn't actually use it much. Uh, the batteries actually went bad, and I had to go ahead and uh, pay another $80. So it was approximately $280 that I put into my Go. But I love it. It has a lot of power. It gets me around when my feet is hurting and I can't walk, or I have to do a lot of walking. I usually will take that with me to ride, and I do love it because it makes everything more pleasant. Because when I'm on my feet, typically I'm in pain. When you're in pain, it makes everything much harder, in my opinion. At least for me, it makes things harder for me. Of course, update you once that comes to fruition. For the last, I want to say, 10 years, I've also had a mobility scooter that I've used. I bought a go-go mobility scooter for approximately $200, and this was years and years ago. And actually, the first couple of years, I didn't actually use it much. So uh, the batteries actually went bad, and I had to go ahead and uh, pay another $80. So it was approximately $280 that I put into my go-go. But I love it. It has a lot of power. It gets me around when it's my feet is hurting and I can't walk, or I have to doing a lot of walking. I usually will take that with me to ride, and I do love it because it makes everything more pleasant. Because when I'm on my feet, typically I'm in pain. When you're in pain, it makes everything much harder, in my opinion. At least for me, it makes things harder for me anyway. Another uh, issue that I've had was that I was ashamed uh, of having CMT for so many years that I really tried to let nobody ever see or know that I've had it. And unfortunately, those feelings are probably pretty dominant in our community, where we don't want to be outed until we have to be, for a variety of reasons. I think that society in general looks down on disabled people. That's just my opinion. I I don't feel good about that opinion. I don't like it, but I really do think that a lot of people do, unfortunately, look down to, or look down on our community. Now, as a parent, I was a single parent of two daughters. Unfortunately, their mother was not around a lot. They both of my kids do have CMT, in which I do have a lot of parental guilt that goes along with passing that along to them. And immediately after my second daughter was born, I decided to have a vasectomy because I didn't want to pass it along to anybody else. As far as the genetic inheritance in my family that I'm aware of, is that my mother inherited the CMT from her father. I inherited the CMT from my mother, and I passed my CMT along to my two daughters. And once I had the youngest born, I went ahead and had a vasectomy after that to make sure. But that's how CMT is working in our family. It's also present, and one of my aunts had CMT as well, and she passed it along to her sons, which are my cousins, and so they both have it. So I have very limited uh, access to information on CMT as far as from in my family because nobody has it. My three siblings didn't have it, so uh, yeah, it was weird growing up with CMT with nobody else in my households. So I lived in two households, had it. So it was a little bit, it was different. But that said, I did not want my CMT to prevent me from doing activities with my siblings when we were younger, and I didn't let it stop me. And in fact, I was actually more athletic than my two brothers. My sister can outrun me, but beyond that, I don't think any of my siblings had any other uh, physical gifts that I was not able to overcome. I was a custodial parent for my two daughters. Their mother was present on and off, as I mentioned. The challenges of raising two kids with CMT is it's probably one of the greatest challenges you can have, is raising a child with CMT. Particularly in my case, my mother really didn't force it on me as far as having the CMT information. So I did not force CMT, that diagnosis, onto my kids. Really, after the pre-existing conditions or the pre-existing exemptions were put in place to protect people like us in our community, I probably should have went ahead and have them diagnosed at that point, but I didn't. I wanted to wait till they were adults so they can decide for themselves when and if they wanted to be diagnosed slash treated. And when I was raising my two kids, I was, like I said, the custodial parent. I was doing everything for them, from braiding their hair, dyeing their hair, things of that nature, taking them to concerts, of course, doctor's visits, dentists, you name it, Chuck E. Cheese, World of Fun, just a variety, many zoos, circuses, things of that nature. And but I do have a regret in raising them is that about 8 years ago I decided that, well, actually closer to 10 years ago, I decided to go back to get my degree because I thought that that would give me an opportunity to garner a higher paying job so I could be a better provider for my kids. But unfortunately, it really hasn't transpired. Even though I have degrees on my wall, it's not led to me being able to provide a better living. And so I do regret going back to school for that purpose too. I wanted to be a better provider for them because I was struggling. I received no help from their mother at all financially or anything other than maybe watching them for taking them for a weekend or something like that. That's about all the help I got from their mother in terms of the kids. Around the age of 38, when I was diagnosed, I went ahead and started to look into Charcot-Marie-Tooth support groups, just because they had never had anything like that available when I was growing up. And I thought maybe it would be interesting. Maybe I would be able to learn something from someone else in the group. And that's why I've participated in those groups. I really hope to share any knowledge that I have received, and in turn also receive any knowledge or slash assistance that someone else may have available. I just truly believe that collaboration is going to lead to better outcomes for anyone with CMT. If you collaborate with others, I really think that you're going to see a better outcome than someone that's just shut off, that is not able to access information on that. So, very grateful for being available in my lifetime, and hopefully in my two daughters' lifetimes, they'll develop some kind of cure or treatment. But that remains to be seen. But the CMT support groups have really helped me in my life, especially in my more difficult times, which when going through surgeries and things of that nature, that's very difficult because, well, for me, because I could not walk or anything after that, and I felt shut in, and I've had a lot of problems with my left foot healing. That's why I'm currently in a boot. I was hoping to be released, but yeah, it's not healed yet. But oh, it'll be okay. That part will be okay. But the support groups really provided a lot of knowledge. My mother unfortunately wasn't able to bequeath any knowledge to me because she also had polio, and that impacted her lower body as well. And so I don't really know what she was experiencing pertaining to Charcot-Marie-Tooth versus polio. So I didn't really have anything like a roadmap or anything uh, to learn these types of deals. I wasn't able to get that from my parent. My grandfather, who had CMT, I only met once, and this was as a child around the age of 5 or 6, and he was in a wheelchair at the time, and that's really what influenced me to uh, really try to address issues with my lower legs to prevent having to be in any type of wheelchair. But I've certainly been humbled many times to be in a wheelchair, and also to be able to use motor mobile devices, such as right now I'm using a knee scooter where my left foot is too painful. I'll use that, or a wheelchair, or so I have been humbled to do that, and I'm very comfortable in wheelchairs. But I really have to take my hat off to people that are in wheelchairs, because I was not able to really experience any joy or anything of that nature when I was in a wheelchair. It's it was just harder for me because I felt like I wasn't good enough to walk. Uh, and that's another, again, mental aspect of the Charcot-Marie-Tooth is that you do a lot of self-blaming that you're not able to do things that people that don't have Charcot-Marie-Tooth can do. And that's not, and I did that most of my life, actually. I held myself to a very high standard, which is incredibly difficult for somebody with CMT to reach. But I try to hold myself to very high standards, but that's led to many injuries and many struggles as well. But I am able to be gracious and give thanks for the gifts I do have and the gifts I was able to give back. And so I'm very, very gracious and thankful for those things that have made my life better. I really feel like I can be a benefit to many Charcot-Marie-Tooth people just because I really have lived with it a long time, and I've accumulated a lot of knowledge via other people, via my trial and error. So I really feel like I can be an asset to other Charcot-Marie-Tooth patients in that aspect. I feel like I would be able to do that. And just speaking of what I've done past, before I had issue with my right foot, I used to do hospital communion for my church until I was not able to do it and walk anymore. I really hope to be able to do that again in the future. But with my left foot kind of in limbo, I'm not sure how that's going to go. Being in the CMT support group is wonderful. Like I said, when I have a bad day or anything of that nature, I can go there and get cheered up by my peers. A lot of you, they can resonate with you a lot better than anyone would see not having CMT would be able to resonate with. Currently, I'm just trying to get back to work part time. I'm really hoping that I'll be able to work part time. With my limitations now with my hands, it's gonna be difficult unless I'm able to continue healing and I'm able to do more or work for longer. It's going to be challenging to find any job that I can do, and I know that, and it's unfortunate, but that I am aware of that, unfortunately, and and that in itself makes me feel, to a degree, like I'm not good enough, and so again, that's another mental aspect of that. I'm a big advocate for education for people with Charcot-Marie-Tooth. Uh, it's important for people that have this condition to research to be able to live their best life. I really think that that's very important, particularly when somebody is going through something that's debilitating. Just educating yourself when you're debilitated on how to get back mobile. You may be able to pick something up from someone else, or if you have really bad balance, I can tell you that I've used a vibration plate and I love it. I feel like it's really done an amazing job helping me improve my balance. I can close my eyes, put my head up, and just stand still. And for a long time, I couldn't even close my eyes and walk or do anything of that nature. Or close my eyes and even stand. I felt like I was going to fall or something. But now I don't have any problems with that, thanks to my vibration plate. And I really am grateful for that. I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to use it again, unfortunately, just because my left foot, the hardware and everything. Maybe after this 4 weeks, which I'll be sidelined, maybe after that I will be able to go ahead and walk and use my vibration plate, hopefully. But we'll see on that. One of my goals with this podcast is to tell my story to my children in the event that I pass and they're still here. They would be able to go and hear me in my own words about my condition. Just a little bit about my mother before I hop off here. Uh, like I said, uh, she had polio. She inherited that. Well, she got that from being in a dirty fountain water, and so that's how she got contracted the polio. But she lived to the age of 49, and she was someone that really worked and contributed. Um, she's my inspiration, really, because she was she was just wonderful, and she was incredibly strong for somebody that was disabled. And I'm talking mentally, not physically. And just seeing her go through that, seeing other people treat her as less because she was in a mobility cart or on crutches or in a wheelchair. That really took a toll on my psyche, and that really made me not want to be diagnosed and not want to tell people that I had it, just because, or not display in any way that I had it. And so that's been a reason for my advocacy, just to educate people, just because a lot of people just don't know about this condition. Most people, unless you have it, you're not going to research and find out about it. So it's not a well known condition, but I'm hoping that my podcast on my page is going to help people feel better about themselves and also feel more educated toward what is going to help you mentally or physically in your life to be your best self every day. That's really my goal, is to be my best self every single day. Of course, I don't always succeed. It certainly is difficult, but it's very important. It's very important to me to educate and to help other people. And so that's why I'm doing this. God bless you on your journey. Thank you for watching my video. It's my very first one of this length. And I want to thank you and apologize in advance for the uh, I just want to point out that this is my first one. It's just going to get better, and I'm much better as an interview capacity, interviewing other people. So I know that this is going to be a success. It's just a matter of time. And to me, it's not about money or anything like that. So I don't really care if it's financially rewarding for me. It's not about that for me. It's about helping other people. So God bless you on your journey. Thank you so much for tuning in.